Hello, chums. It's that terrible time where Splatoon Raiders is only a few weeks away, and yet each day going up to that release gets a little bit longer. I'm kind of at that point in the hype cycle where Splatoon Raiders is basically every other thought that I have, so I kind of want to talk about it just a little bit, just a smidge. This isn't really going to be about any specifics. It's going to kind of be all over the place. I just want to talk generally about this game and why I think it's a very good thing. Splatoon Raiders really feels like it's coming out at the perfect time for the series in general, because I mean, I guess I should talk about Splatoon 3 first before I go into Raiders. Splatoon 3 feels like it's kind of in that weird transition period between it and Splatoon 4 where it's not getting consistent updates anymore, and naturally because of that fact, it feels like the excitement around the game has definitely gone down. We've had Splatoon 3 for nearly 4 years, which is haunting. So just having anything Splatoon related is good, but having a spin-off specifically is so refreshing. I made a video talking about how Splatoon Raiders just existing can mean incredible things for the series, and I mean, I guess in some ways this video is kind of a follow-up to that. Raiders kind of bridges the gap more gradually between Splatoon 3 and 4 because Splatoon games are literally always rushed, and one thing I really hope for Splatoon 4 is that they just take their damn time. And I mean, releasing a spin-off between 3 and 4 is kind of perfect. It gives the fans something to do, and it gives them more time to make their big 4th game. Because I mean, I remember waiting for Splatoon 3 when the only Splatoon game was Splatoon 2. Shoot me. And with the 11.0 patch for Splatoon 3 and with this entire game and its gameplay and its gimmicks and stuff, it really feels like they're trying to play around with the Splatoon formula in a way that makes me very excited, because I think Splatoon right now definitely needs a big switch up. And with the trilogy that is Splatoon 1, 2, and 3, it feels like now is the perfect time where they have just this potential to completely shift a lot of the stuff about Splatoon that is frustrating, that has remained from the beginning of the series and has kind of gotten worse over time. Because in 11.0 you have Flow Aura, which seems like a natural integration of tactical buffs into just the game that can naturally occur. And Splatoon Raiders is introducing gadgets, which I will say I really hope are just a thing in Splatoon from now on, because from what I'm seeing in the gameplay, it looks incredible. Because it's not something I've seen talked about a huge amount, but something that I believe personally is that sub-weapons are kind of a dud. They kind of suck. Specifically, lethal bombs and just bomb spam in general is such an annoying part of Splatoon. And I mean, you literally have a weapon that's whole thing is just doing that. I feel like at that point you've kind of failed in some way. And I mean, even subs in general, it really feels like they've kind of just run out of ideas for new stuff to do for them. The only new sub in Splatoon 3 was Line Marker, and that's the end of the sentence. And to me, that's why gadgets feel like such a huge step forward, because they reinvent the sub-weapon as something that is just generally more interactive and more fun to use. You have way more control over what gadgets you have than what subs you have in Splatoon 3, and it feels like you can kind of mix and match whatever ones you want for whatever situation you're going into, and you have like cooldowns where you have to be careful of using them, you can't overuse them. And again, I will state, they look fun. They actually look fun and interesting to use. When I throw a splat bomb, I can't really say I'm farming dopamine off of that. But gadgets look super interesting, and they're probably the thing that's making me most excited for this game, is just seeing what gadgets you can have, what combinations you can make, how it really changes the gameplay. I know, especially the speed ones look fucking crazy. There's just one that's just strafing. That looks awesome. And that's the other thing, is just variety. It feels like there's just a huge amount of variety in playstyles here. You literally have the speed, power, and tactical tanks. So you can play around whatever playstyle you have. Because I feel like subs are either just a variation of the splat bomb or a utility sub that has a debatable value. But they genuinely cooked here with just kind of covering all bases and making a bunch of different gadgets that look fun in different ways. And I'm very excited for how this could possibly shake up the kit system in Splatoon 4, even if it's not exactly the same as how it is in Raiders. I think just outright replacing the sub-weapons with something that have a cooldown and that are more varied and interesting to use is just a good idea, and I think it allows for more customization on weapon kits in general, because Splatoon 3's kits and just the kit system in general I think is very flawed and has been needing to change for the entirety of Splatoon, honestly. For how much Splatoon promotes you customizing yourself and your experience, it feels oddly restrictive that certain weapons are just kind of cursed because the developers didn't want it to be good. All of the Splatana kits exist in the same game as all of the Undercover Umbrella kits. I don't really know what we're doing here. And I mean, just on the topic of variety, moving away from gameplay stuff, is just the setting. Splatoon is a series that has incredible world building and really supports you looking into the world that the games take place in, but I feel like the games themselves do not really show you much of it, strangely. A lot of the places we've been seeing in Splatoon are quite similar to each other, and obviously they have their differences. I'm not saying that Splatsville and Inkopolis are the same, but I feel like we've been seeing the same little fraction of the greater world for 3 games now, and I think it's a very good time to switch that up. And I mean, story mode has always had this problem of having these geometric Mario Galaxy style levels where, despite Splatoon's incredible world building, the actual playable stages in the story modes have always felt very restrictive. You're playing in these very video gamey levels and all of the cool stuff is in the background. And this kind of got to a ridiculous level in Side Order where it looks very uninteresting on purpose, but just because it's on purpose doesn't mean that it doesn't look uninteresting. And Raiders has completely blown it out of the park, especially with a lot of the recent footage where we're seeing actual environments in a Splatoon game. It feels like the Spiral Islands are this really interesting, mysterious place that have just been existing this entire time that we haven't seen. It feels just so varied compared to places like Octo Valley and Octo Canyon, which basically everywhere there looks the same. It feels like they're really trying to experiment with different locations, and again, I hope this applies to Splatoon 4. Not only the story mode, but just where it's set in general, because, I mean, looking back on it, it's kind of crazy that we had 2 games just set in the exact same place, except one of them is like 10 minutes away. I just want to see another part of this world. I think it would be really cool if Splatoon 4 was just straight up set in like another continent, away from everything that we've known so far. And these locations are interwoven with the actual level design. It's not the cool stuff being in the background and what you're actually playing on is just a block in the middle of the map. And I mean, in some cases it is, but that feels more restricted to a certain type of level. It feels like more generally the, you know, going out and looting stuff. Those levels feel more open and it feels like you're in an actual location and it all just feels quite seamless. And I mean, it just looks damn good. And speaking of looking good, hello. I love Deep Cut a lot, and it's kind of never been a mystery that Deep Cut kind of got snuffed in their own game in a series of very unfortunate events. And I can't confidently say until I play the game, obviously, but I'm just really happy that they're here, and I really hope that they are given a lot of spotlight. It seems like they are with some of the cutscenes and stuff we've been seeing, and just, I mean, having them be part of the gameplay, having them be like the little battle tank thing, that's fun. That's just cool. That's a cool way to get other characters involved in the story. Something that I really felt in Splatoon 3 story mode is you have this whole gaggle of goons. You have like basically the whole New Squeak Splatoon bar Agent 4 and 8, but they're literally just there to be there. They don't do anything, and there's kind of no good reason given for why they aren't doing anything. They're kind of just waiting around for you to get far enough into the game where you can go to the next area. It's a very small thing, and ultimately it kind of doesn't matter, but I feel like especially in Splatoon 3 being like the game where everyone comes together and it's this huge climactic thing, this huge climax of the trilogy, it's very weird to just see like Callie and Marie kind of just sitting there. The whole vibe of Raiders is so different because it really feels like you're all in this together. It feels like everyone is helping each other out. Obviously you have them standing around on the ship and you can, you know, Shiver helps you upgrade stuff, Fry lets you scrap stuff, Big Man is the Wikipedia. But that's not all they do. They actually do help you out. You can select one of them to come with you during raids, and it also makes the actual events of the game feel a lot more serious, where it feels like you actually are trying to survive. And I really hope we just get good moments between these characters. I really like the dynamic that the mechanic seems to have with all of the members. I mean, mean, I guess that's actually a bonus thing. The comics are just kind of cute. They're fun. I like that they did this. It's potentially the only characterization the mechanic's gonna get, which kind of scares me, but I think it's really great that we even have this. I think it's a very cute lead up to the game's release, and I also think it's scratching that itch for me where I believe Splatoon can definitely go a lot further. I think it would really benefit from having like a show or a comic or a manga that's not primarily aimed at 12-year-olds. And I think Raiders is really running with that potential, being a spin-off. It doesn't really have to abide by the rules of a Splatoon game because it's not multiplayer focused. You can really stop and make a whole game out of these characters, and I really hope that is what they're doing here. I think Deep Cut deserves a lot of love, and there's so much about them that's super interesting that I think could be really cool if they just develop it a little bit more, and I really hope we see a lot more of their characters shine through in this game. And of course, I think the mechanic bodes very well as a departure from your normal Splatoon protagonist being just kind of a guy. This is literally just a normal person with no affiliation with the new Squid Beak Splatoon or anything. They're literally just a normal tax-paying adult. And I just think it's immediately so charming that they're the one responsible for making the ship, and I assume the weapons as well. I also just think it's really funny, the weird dynamic that they have where it's all of Deep Cut and then also just you're here too. I just seriously really like this character, and I'm not expecting a huge amount of characterization because Splatoon protagonists do not often get treated as characters, but I mean, a little bit of something would kind of go a long way, I think, for this guy. But a lot of what Splatoon Raiders is showing is very promising to me. Not only for it as a game, its own standalone thing, but for the series in general. It's just doing some, like, incredible things, and I'm very excited to play it, and I am just very hopeful that it's going to lead Splatoon in a very unique direction, in a direction that we haven't seen before. There's a lot of stuff here that I think they're doing right, and it just makes me very excited for the future of this series and where it could possibly go from here. Sorry if this video was a little bit all over the place. I kind of wanted to just talk about some of the stuff that was really sticking in my mind about Splatoon Raiders and just kind of about my excitement for the game and the series in general. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy Splatoon Raiders.